Am I the a-hole for not doing anything after discovering that my wife deleted my daughter's novel? I have been married to my wife, Hannah, 36, for 2 years. She and my daughter, Morgan, 16, don't have a daughter-mother relationship. To be completely transparent here, they both fight often and just don't get along. Morgan used to spend most of her time at her mom's, but now is staying with us for school. I remember Hannah telling me about a novel Morgan has been writing on her laptop. She admitted to sneaking and looking at it without Morgan's knowledge, but she praised her writing style and storytelling. So I thought that was a positive thing. Yesterday, I got back home and found Morgan and her mom yelling at Hannah. I asked what was happening, and Morgan told me that Hannah deleted her novel. Hannah said that Morgan created a character in the novel using her description and name, and making her the villain. Not only that, but she wrote bad words about her. Morgan argued that it was just a character, and Hannah had no business snooping on her laptop to begin with. Hannah broke down crying after my ex-wife threatened her. I just watched the three of them fight and did nothing nor said a single word. I stepped out for a minute to get fresh air, and moments later, Hannah unloaded on me about how I should have defended her in the argument instead of acting so cowardly. Morgan and her mom also said that I should have done something when Hannah decided to snoop, then deleted Morgan's month's worth of work. It just became too much with the three of them berating me and yelling in my face. Morgan went home with her mom and she was crying and refused to speak to me. And Hannah checked into a hotel also refusing to speak to me. The texts from both sides kept coming in, both telling me I should have done something and should have taken their side in the argument. I just had to stay out of this one. I was on my feet the entire week working. Both mental and physical health are down the drain, and I'm tired of them fighting all the time then blaming me for my actions / or lack thereof. Both are expecting me to get involved and do something to fix this, but I haven't done anything yet. Am I the a-hole for not getting involved? Now for the top comments. You're the a-hole. Hannah should pay for the recovery services to get the novel back. This will run $1,500 to $3,000 and won't guarantee that it is successful. There is no question who the a-hole is here, and it's both you and Hannah. The laptop should be powered off and not used until it is sent in for recovery to give it the best chance of succeeding. It just became too much with the three of them berating me and yelling in my face. Well, you aren't going to have a great time here either. This. Also, OP, you should have shut Hannah down the moment she admitted to snooping through Morgan's things. You should have told her to stop and told Morgan to add or change her password. You and Hannah are huge a-holes. I see the next novel having 2 villains. One nasty snooping one and one cowardly one. You're the a-hole, as is Hannah. Your daughter was writing fiction and probably processing some stuff with that writing. Hannah snooped, then deleted her work. Work which was in no way public or created to hurt Hannah. You are the a-hole for not realizing how profoundly Hannah messed up here and how inappropriate her behavior was. Not to mention that Hannah was offended that she was written as the villain and then actually became the villain by deleting the novel. And the irony is that I know lots of writers tend to base villains, names and descriptions, etc., on people that they like because they are much less likely to react the way Stepmother did. A good villain is always a little likable, so you base them on people that you love to make that come across. That's what I do anyway. The alternative, though, is that it could have been a way of working through emotions like it is for many people. So the stepmother definitely earned her role as the villain. You're the a-hole. Your wife had no right to go into your daughter's laptop and delete her personal writing. All she did was prove that your daughter was correct to make her the villain. Both are expecting me to get involved and do something to fix this, but I haven't done anything yet. You're the husband and father, and you've failed at both. Grow a spine. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling the officer where my mom's boyfriend was the day he was supposed to attend court? So my 16 male mom has been with her boyfriend Joseph for a few months now. He lives with us most of the time. Now, I don't know the full extent of what's going on exactly, but from what I understand is that he got caught up in child support case and he just keeps missing court dates after court date, basically avoiding to show up. Also, from what I understand, his ex has a sick child who needs money to pay for medical bills. The other day, an officer showed up to our house while I was outside fixing the fence. Joseph opened the door and I heard his entire conversation with the officer, telling him he couldn't attend court last week because he had a family emergency and had to go out of town to deal with it. The officer seemed skeptical about believing his story and insisted on the importance of respecting court dates/attendance. After the officer was done talking to Joseph, he approached me and started asking me about what I was doing. He then asked if I saw Joseph on X date Y day. I said yes. Told him he was with mom at her apartment that is located in X location. The officer seemed confused. He went back to the porch and rang the door again. Joseph opened the door and they started talking. I freaked out internally because the officer was confronting him with my statement. So I decided to go to a neighbor's friend's place. After a while, I got an angry call from mom telling me to get my snitching butt home ASAP. I went home and she blew up at me saying that Joseph had just been taken to the police station after I snitched on him to the officer. I told her I got worried and couldn't lie to the officer, but she screamed that I just got her boyfriend in a huge trouble instead of keeping my mouth shut or saying I knew nothing. She scolded me for 30 minutes, had a full-on breakdown, then punished me, then left to be with Joseph at the station. I felt so confused and regretful for getting them into trouble. But I just couldn't help lie to the officer because this could have major repercussions. And I'm not the type who wants to get involved in trouble. I'm punished for eternity by the looks of it, and I don't think I made a right call here. Not a-hole, and everyone else in this situation is an a-hole, including the cop. The boyfriend sucks for so many reasons, including not providing for his child. Your mom sucks for wanting you to lie to a cop. Seriously, what the hell is she thinking? Don't do it, no matter what she tells you to do. Lastly, the cop sucks for talking with you without a parent present, and for failing to consider your safety when confronting the boyfriend. Someone should file a complaint against him. Damnation. You should not have to deal with this kind of crap at 16. Yep, that cop straight up put you in a potential danger, OP. You did the right thing, and it's not fair that it's coming back to bite you. Not stay home. OP's mom is awful. I had narcissistic parents growing up, and it was terrible. I feel so bad for OP. OP, do you have other trusted adults that you are close to? Not stay home. Also, I'm not a fan of the police officer's actions for asking a minor for information. That might put the minor in danger at home. It's actions like that which result in distrust in policing institutions. Where's that officer now that Opie has to deal with her mom and Joseph when he returns? Not stay home. It's Joseph's fault that he didn't attend court. If he makes the silly decision to skip a court date, then you're not responsible for lying in order to help him avoid any ramifications. And seriously? All this talk about snitching and getting him in trouble. What, are they at school? No, they're not legit. Snitching would be from Joseph's culture along with hiding from the cops and abandoning a sick child. Opie's mother is not any better. Imagine punishing your child's honest impulse and beating him down to placate your awful boyfriend. Hope you can get out of there soon, Opie. You have a conscience and the makings of a good person. Not stay home. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for calling my boyfriend useless because he invited his friends over to get drunk while looking after my son? I, 24 female, have a 4-year-old son from a past fling, and the father is not in the picture. I do have a boyfriend, 25 male, who I have been dating since mid-2020. Although he has a great bond with my son, I have never left them alone by themselves for longer than 20 minutes. Obviously, it takes time to build that level of trust, especially considering he doesn't have experience with children. In a way, my older sister's bachelorette party was last night, and I had no one to babysit my son. Usually my mom does, but she wasn't available, so I was planning on hiring a babysitter. This was when my boyfriend offered to look after him. Initially, I was hesitant, but I decided to say yes because he has never done anything wrong by me or my son. So I went and attended my sister's bachelorette. My boyfriend is pretty familiar with my son's schedule, but I wrote him a list before I left just in case. Later in the night, I called my boyfriend to check up on how he was going, but he wasn't answering his phone. I texted and called him multiple times with no reply. I was anxious as hell, so I decided to leave hours early and go home. When I went inside, my boyfriend and a bunch of his friends were in the living room playing games and drinking. There was alcohol everywhere. The only positive thing is that my son was in bed. I waited until my boyfriend's friends left to confront him. He said that he invited his friends over last minute, and it wasn't planned beforehand. I was irate because I don't want drunk people around my 4-year-old child. My boyfriend claims he wasn't drinking, but I could smell alcohol on his breath, so I know he's lying. I told him he was freaking useless, and I'm never gonna trust him again. He pretty much feigned innocence, said he did nothing wrong, he was just hanging with his friends, and that he looked after my son just as I had asked. Now he's claiming that I'm creating unnecessary drama. I'm ungrateful and I should be thanking him, not biting his head off. We're both pissed at each other, but I believe I have every right to be angry, unlike him. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. He shouldn't have offered to babysit if he wasn't prepared to actually be responsible about it. Yeah, and she was originally planning to get a babysitter, and he offered to babysit. If he wanted to get drunk and have friends over, he should have just let her get the babysitter she originally wanted and everything would have been cool. 100% agree. And it shouldn't really have to be said that someone has to stay sober while babysitting. Also, he needed to know to answer his damn phone when he's looking after your kid for the first time. I don't think he's ready to be a stepdad material. Not that he's not a good guy, but he needs work. You could meet him halfway and say that maybe you weren't clear enough with what's expected, and that he wasn't thinking he was doing anything wrong. But don't give up your stance that drinking and not paying attention to the kid or his phone is wrong. Not stay home. If your son got hurt, how is he going to drive him to the ER while drunk? I think you have hit the massive red flag that it is time to get out. I agree. But to me, the biggest red flag is that he won't admit wrongdoing and is upset with Opie for creating unnecessary drama and lying about not drinking. I think if he were very apologetic, there might be a way to work through this. But the lies and failure to take responsibility make getting out the only option, sadly. Congrats, your son is still alive. Now dump your boyfriend. Not stay home. LMAO. This made me laugh and perfectly sums it up. Time to pack your bags, Opie. Right? I want to vote not the a-hole, but like she's still calling him her boyfriend. Current boyfriend. The heck? So like, for this, no. But if she doesn't break up with him over the 1, getting smashed while babysitting, 2, to the point that he can't even handle answering the phone, 3, having a bunch of drunk strangers at the house while babysitting, and 4, gaslighting Opie about it, then yeah, it would have to be everyone sucks here for me. Whatever it is that Opie finds charming or endearing about her boyfriend, it can't be enough to make up for this. This relationship can't go anywhere if she has a child, and he isn't responsible enough to be in a child's life. Even if it's the prick. Dude, there are other passes in the world attached to better people than this guy. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my stepmother to get over her child calling my wife mom? My father married my now stepmother late in life after an accidental pregnancy. For reference, my father is 71, my wife and I are 32 and 30, and my stepmother is 41. My stepmother was diagnosed with stage 3 cancer while pregnant, and it has progressed to stage 4. She has less than a year to live. We've already worked it out between the 3 of us that after my stepmother passes on, my wife and I will be adopting the baby. It's the perfect solution. My father will get to fully retire and have a more appropriate grandfather role. My wife and I will be able to have a second child, and our older child will be able to have a younger sibling that they've already bonded with, since we already do most of the care for the baby because she's far too ill. I came over to visit and show them pictures and videos of the kids. I didn't think about this, but in one of the videos, the baby can be heard saying mama to my wife. She got angry at that and asked if we allow the baby to say that, which we do, and it came out that we would be adopting the baby when she passes on. She balked at that and said she would never allow it, but quite frankly, that's just not her choice. I tried to tell her not to worry about it and that we would make sure she wasn't forgotten, but she got angry and tried to say that she would stop it. I shouldn't have engaged, but I did, and I ended up telling her to get over it because that's just what it was going to be. She started crying and I stormed out. My father is upset with me for upsetting her, which I feel bad about, but she's the one who made a big deal about it. She never had to even think about it. She brought it up, not me. We didn't want to stress her out about it because there was no need to. But what did she think the reality of the situation was going to be? My wife and I are already the ones raising this child. My father is too old to fully raise another child or even want to. I don't think it's my fault that she pressed for a truth and then didn't like what she found. You're the a-hole. Y'all went behind her back and planned her child's future without telling her. Not only that, you couldn't even wait for her to be dead to start enacting your little plan. She just found out her husband intends to abandon their child when she dies, and you think she should just get over it? Not to mention Opie calling his and his wife adopting the baby a perfect solution. Nothing about the situation is perfect, Opie. Your second child is losing their mother and will not be raised by their father. Please recognize that even though there is a logical solution to all of this, it's still a tragedy and hard and painful. If you cannot treat your dying stepmother with compassion at this time, I'm not sure how well you are prepared to support your adopted child through coping with everything as they grow, and understand their origins and how they came to be with your family. I hope he has no regard for stepmom's feelings. She just found that her husband has no intention of raising the baby, and I don't get it. Feels like Opie already decided that she will die soon. I feel pretty bad for her. Opie's dead enjoying his retirement. She might have thought he will take care of the baby even when she is gone. You're the a-hole, Opie. Give her some respect, that's all. You're the a-hole. She's dying and her kid is calling another woman mama. Dude, have a heart. I'm wondering why you and your wife have a kid. The baby has a father who should be taking care of them and should be spending time with their mother while there's still time. There's something off about your story. In any case, you're the a-hole. The baby's father is 71, dude. Most men I personally have met from that generation have been provided for constantly, either by mother, girlfriend, wife, or even hired hands. I don't even know how to cook a simple meal. Never mind take on infant care solo. There are always exceptions, and he may be one of the exceptions, but in my personal experience, it seems more likely that he wouldn't be able to do it on his own. Wow, you're the a-hole. A relatively young woman has to confront her very real death while leaving behind her child, and she should just get over it. Did you guys even include her in the discussion about her child's care after her passing? You're going to ensure she's not forgotten, but her child is already calling your wife mama. You're the a-hole. Am I the a-hole for supporting my son and wanting to go non-contact with my soon-to-be ex-wife? So this is a pretty simple one, I think. My wife, 39 female, and I, 39 male, are going through an admittedly pretty messy divorce. I thought everything was fine with our relationship until my son, 14 male, told me that he walked in on her cheating on me with our next-door neighbor's son, 20-ish I think, and that it's been going on for a year now. Obviously, I do the expected thing and move out and file for divorce, since she'll probably end up with a house. The thing is, my son wanted to come with me. I made him stay with her till I got a place lined up, but ever since he's been living with me and is refusing to spend time with her or even speak with her. The entire time I've been supportive of this. She's come as far as I'm concerned, and I don't see why I should try to convince him otherwise. Custody came up in the divorce. We're both requesting primary. And when it came to asking my son what he wanted, he said that he didn't want anything to do with my wife. Ever since then, my wife has been plastering all over social media that I've been poisoning him against her, which is causing a lot of other family members and others I know to get on my case about it. While I wouldn't say that I've been poisoning him, I haven't exactly been trying to get him to think better of her, which is what some of my family members and friends are angry at me for doing. My sister especially has been on my case about it. She tells me that I should be telling my son off whenever he expresses how he feels about his mother and that I should be encouraging him to sort things out with her and to see things from her perspective. While I understand that this is something that would help him get some form of a relationship back with her, I honestly don't see how it's my place to do that. My wife cheated on me for a college kid and threw me and our son away for it. I don't get why I should be helping her to get away with this regarding our son and his feelings about the situation. My sister and everyone else I've shared my thoughts with are calling me a major a-hole for it. So I'd like to see if others who don't know either of us agree with them, or whether or not it's just a microcosm of our social group and family. So am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. He's old enough to make that decision for himself. You're just supporting and enabling him to make that decision. Just be aware of the influence you have when you talk about her with him. Not the a-hole. OP, what your wife did was hideous and your son witnessed it himself. So you were not poisoning his mind. His mom did that all by herself. But your child definitely needs therapy, and I think it would help you to get into therapy yourself. As for the family members who are blaming you, tell them to mind their business or you will cut contact with them too. I personally am not in favor of social media's smear campaigns, as it does more harm than good and can easily get out of hand. So block and ignore your ex. Other than that, try your best to get full custody of your son and don't pressure your son to start having a relationship with his mom again. He can do that if he wants to down the road. I will say this though, before the exodus, I definitely hit one of her posts up complaining about OP poisoning her son against her with a... Well, actually, OP's wife was caught by son smashing 20-year-old neighbor and then came to his own conclusion about the value of his mother and then screenshot. Post to Reddit for karma and wait for her to block you while having the solace that 50% of the people that interacted with that post now knows the facts. Oh, and not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. I'm sorry your wife did that to you. But I'm 100 in supporting of kids deciding whether they want to put themselves in that situation. So long as you make sure your son knows you would facilitate any contact he wants with the ex-wife in the future, you're doing the best for him. Obviously, don't talk bad about her to him, etc. But he's old enough now to make decisions, and if he doesn't want contact, I think it's fair to respect that. For context, my 14-year-old just moved back to me after 5 years with her dad. At that time, she was mistreated, gaslighted, poisoned against me, and I had no contact with her. Eventually, she came to see me and saw how much she'd lied to her and how bad things were there. She's now with me and under police advisory to not talk to him or have anything to do with her dad. And I've been advised from professionals that you shouldn't and can't really ever force a child to have contact with a parent or to not contact them. It only serves to damage them emotionally in the long run. Trust your son. He needs to heal from this too. Continue to be supportive to him at any future relationship with his mom and you'll be okay. I felt like I was reading a post made by my family member because I'm experiencing the exact same situation from your son's point of view. Not the a-hole. He's old enough to form his own opinions and make up his mind. My advice would be to not discuss it unless he wants to talk about the situation, because if you continuously bring it up, your family member's ex-wife will claim to be justified in you poisoning him. Similar with me, though I discovered my dad was cheating when I was 21, so I was in college and not living at home full-time, and got married less than a year later and moved out permanently. My mom constantly, even 4 years later after their divorce has been finalized, complains about my dad to me, and it's very hard to deal with. And every time I tell her I don't want to talk about it, she gets upset with me. I still love my dad as my dad, so it's hard to hear her complaints. I think it's important for the dad in this situation to do his best not to poison his son's opinion of his mom because while she was awful in cheating and OP, she is still his son's mom. A person can be an awful partner and still a good parent, and therapy should definitely be required. But in the end, it's still his son's decision, and I don't blame him for being betrayed by his mother and not wanting to see her. Not the a-hole. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for refusing to see my dad because of my stepmother's racist comments? I'm 16 female and half white, half Chinese. My parents have been split up for a while, so I'm mostly over it. They're a lot happier without each other, so while it sucked, it's fine. It's weird sometimes when I'm with my dad, people assume I'm adopted, but usually he's good at correcting people, except for my stepmom. I really did try to like her in the beginning, but she's kind of racist. The first time I met her, she wouldn't stop touching and commenting on my hair and how I looked like a K-pop star. It just got worse the longer they were together. She would do things like tell people she was my tiger mom, and make comments about my body type and plastic surgery. And when she moved in, she had my dad ask me to only speak English in the house and watch English shows because it made her uncomfortable if she couldn't understand what was being said. When they got married, she kinda sneakily left me out of the wedding photos. And when I asked why, she said she wanted a certain aesthetic, which I guess is a nice way of saying white. I've talked to my dad about it a lot and he says he'll talk to her, but he never does. And also that she just doesn't have a lot of familiarity with Asian people. So I have to be patient with her because she's learning. My mom and stepdad were really angry about how she treats me, but they can't exactly do anything about my stepmom. So they just said that if I ever feel like I need to leave, I can call either of them at any time and they'll come get me. It really hit the fan a couple of weeks ago. My stepmom is pregnant and had her baby shower, and I heard her make a comment about how I don't look very much like my dad. So now he'll also have a kid that resembles him, and I just couldn't take it anymore. I called my mom to come pick me up and left. My dad called me a few hours later and I told him what his wife said. And he said he would talk to her, but I told him he always says that and nothing changes. So I'm not coming over to his house anymore. And maybe he should stick with his white family. Stepmother texted me to apologize, but I told her it wasn't accepted and I don't want to talk to her anymore. My mom and stepdad and my grandparents on the side support me, but my dad is really upset, and my grandparents on my dad's side are really mad at me, and people have been telling me that even if my stepmom is being a pill, I shouldn't write off my dad because he's not the one doing it. I love my dad, but I just don't want to see his wife again. And if that means I don't see my dad too because he won't stand up to her, maybe that's how it needs to be. Not stay home. Your racist stepmom is, and so is your racist dad. Your dad supporting her beliefs make him racist too? You don't deserve to be treated like that just because you don't meet their aesthetic. I know, right? That's messed up. Opie's future sibling will probably ask in the future, why is Opie not in the wedding pictures? Opie's stepmom be like, because she's not part of the aesthetics. WTF? You mean because she's not white, really? That's what it is. Not stay home. Cut these people from your life completely. If your father does nothing to stop the stepmother, he condones it. He married her knowing her views, which makes him racist. He married her knowing she was awful to his daughter, which makes him a failure as a father. Opie needs to keep herself emotionally safe from her loser bigot dad. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my significant other that his daughter cannot come over to our new house until we meet up again? Me, 26 female, and my significant other, 32 male, have been together for 5 years, and he has 2 children with his ex Anna, 31 female. They have Leo, 8 male, and Leia, 14 female, together. Me and my significant other decided to wait until we were dating for 1 year for me to meet his children. We met up for lunch at a local restaurant, and while Leo liked me, Leia didn't speak a word. I assumed she was not ready to warm up to me just yet. After that, we scaled back to brief video calls where she wouldn't say anything. This went on for another 6 months, and then me and my significant other moved in together. Leo came every other week for visits for the first month, and Leia never came. She told significant other she didn't want to be around me, so she wasn't going to come for visitation. So my significant other did visitation at his sister's house. This worked out okay. It was just awkward because the sister lives 5 minutes away from our old apartment, and the kids lived 20 minutes away from us. So it was a lot of driving back and forth. This has been the arrangement for years. The entire time, I've been inviting Leia out, through my significant other, with us to get to know her better. We go out at least 4 to 5 times per month and do various activities. Parks, museums, zoo, malls, go-karts, restaurants, everything. Leo tags along sometimes, but Leia's never come. March 1st, I closed on my dream apartment. 3 beds, 2.5 baths, study, huge balcony. It's gorgeous. We've moved in and I'm so excited to start making our home here. I posted a video on social media and Anna's seen it and showed Leia. Anna blew up my significant other's phone asking him when he was going to tell Leia that he moved. He did tell Leia, and she said, "Oh, okay." After Leia seen our new home, she asked significant other when she would be able to come over and decorate her new room. I told him under no circumstances will Leia be allowed into her new room until she agrees to meet us outside for an outing. I love her because she's my partner's daughter, but I don't know her. I've only ever heard her voice in videos she posts to social media. She has never spoken a word to me. My significant other is incredibly sad because he just wants his daughter to visit him again, but he agrees with me. Anna and Leia obviously disagree, and so does my in-laws. Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. Everyone sucks here. For the past 5 years, everybody has agreed to let a child, she was 9 at the beginning, decide if/when/where she wanted to see her father. Also, if you bought that apartment with your significant other, his daughter has every right to come whenever she wants, as it is also her home. The adults need to do better by that child. I actually agree with this. My significant other has allowed the situation to drag out for 4 years, and it's unfair to all of us. He allowed a child to dictate the terms of their relationship. 4 years of family events where he had to exclude me because she wouldn't come if I was there. 4 years of living a double life to keep us separated. I purchased that apartment with my own money. I made sure to include a private bedroom for her when she was ready to come around. I'm assuming she's ready now, but she is saying she absolutely does not want to go out for dinner or an activity. She just wants to decorate and start coming over. She wants a relationship with her father, not with you. That's her right. The more you're going to push, the more she's going to run. Is it going to suck for you? Yes, but you made a choice to move in with him knowing he had a daughter who wanted nothing to do with you. You either accept that or tell your significant other to find another place to live. Cool, that's her right. She can have that relationship at his sister's then because her apartment isn't his apartment. It has got no right to demand a room for the kid. Yep, the bio parents have had 5 years to establish a relationship and set boundaries that would let Opie get to know the 14-year-old at least enough that the 14-year-old would already have their space in the apartment. The 14-year-old made her choice, and now she's learning that what she does or doesn't do may have unforeseen consequences. Opie has every right not to have a stranger in her home. All she's asking for is an outing to get to know the girl. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for how I'm treating my daughter? My daughter, 32 female, and I, 69 female, are very close. We used to live in the southern part of the US. I divorced her father when she was 13, and then she made a decision to cut him out of her life. So it's pretty much been just the two of us ever since. About 9 years ago, she chose to move up to the East Coast to look for work after her college graduation. I was supportive and happy when she found something. About 5 years ago, my mom died, so I had no family left in the South. I wanted to move, and it was either move to the East Coast to be near my daughter or move out west to be near my brother and his partner. My daughter said, "If you want to move up here, I'm fine with it, but don't do it just for me because I'm not attached to this area, so who knows if I'll stay." I said I understood, but decided to move there anyway. I purchased a condo in the same town and have lived here ever since. About 2 years ago, my daughter needed to move out of her apartment because of some issues with her neighbors, and it just so happened that the condo next door to mine became available to rent. The rent was too good for her to pass up, so she moved in. I love that we live so close. Anyway, about 8 months ago, she started dating a man from a town about an hour away. They are planning on her moving in with him, since he owns his house, which means she will be about an hour away from me. I'm happy for her, and I like her boyfriend, but I'm not going to lie that I'm a little sad about her moving. Anyway, for the last few months, she has become very short with me on a lot of topics. Like, I ask her if her boyfriend is okay with the state of cleanliness that her condo is. I don't think she cleans it well enough. It will be fine with his home being like that. She just blankly stares at me and bluntly says, "Yes, he's been to my place and knows what it looks like." Or when I ask if she was going to start making herself look pretty for the day once she has him around all the time. She works from home and he does for part of the week too. She, again, just stared at me and bluntly said, "He knows what I look like, so I'm fine." The other issue is that his parents live in the same town as him and the two of them see them all of the time for dinners and such, a lot more than they see me. I guess some of my jealousy shows in my face, because she has commented on it several times, but I just act like everything is fine. All in all, she's making me feel like I'm treating her badly recently, but being so short with me, and I'm afraid that I'm not ever going to see her after she moves. Am I the a-hole? You're the a-hole. I don't know if this is specifically a southern thing or if it extends to more cultures, but comments like you're making to your daughter made me incredibly insecure. If I didn't clean enough, I wasn't lovable. If I didn't do my makeup, I wasn't pretty. So my natural face wasn't pretty. You're making these comments to make her feel less secure in her relationship. Whether you're doing it consciously or not, the result is the same. You are undermining her self-confidence. And yes, you're probably going to lose your close bond. No one wants to be around someone who makes them feel self-conscious. No one wants to be around someone who makes them feel unlovable. Texan here. When I was in college, my boyfriend and I evacuated to my grandparents' ranch following a hurricane. I was an evacuee. I was on a ranch. I wasn't wearing makeup or dressing up, but that's not any different from any other time on a ranch. My granny told me I had let myself go, presumably because the boyfriend would see me at my worst since it was never a problem prior. Ranch kid here. Well, it's a good thing she can cook, said at the end of a muddy, bloody day of me working kettle. Thanks, Pops. You just undermined pretty much all of the fears and dependence you instilled in me. All for a laugh from the menfolk.